What's up, everybody? This is DDP, and here we are for our game companion. This is going to be the final game of Dirk Nowitzki's NBA career. It is a sobering moment, to put it lightly. Man, it was crazy with the game last night. The moment was just it was intense. Like, I'm not even gonna argue that. It was a very intense. Hold on, I'm gonna fix a setting here. Don't mind me. I'm still gonna keep talking. It was a very intense experience, and it was ultimately why I chose not to do last night's game for a game companion. I know on one hand, that being his home. I got the intro music going over me, don't I? Even though I know that that was his home game, his final home game of his career and everything, I still was a little bit silent about that just because I knew I was going to be overcome with emotion. Hold on, I'm going to listen to these game introductions here. Here's the Dirk tribute video from San Antonio. This is surreal to get this in the Spurs house. Cheers, Dirk. Man, this is intense. Yeah, Dirk looks like he's getting emotional. Oh, man. That got me a little bit, too. Shit. I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, he's very emotional, but it's his last game. Man. Wow. He's more emotional tonight than he was last night. I guess because there's always still one more game left until there suddenly isn't another game left. Now we're pivoting to the Spurs entrances here. Man, nothing but class from San Antonio there. Nothing but class from San Antonio at the end. That was awesome. I'm going to bump the volume down on this a little bit just so it doesn't by chance pick up, or at the very least continue to distract me. So, yeah, my feeling yesterday, I didn't do the stream, the game companion then, because I felt like it was going to be an emotional moment even for me, and I wasn't about to jump on here blubbering. I didn't quite get that far, but I definitely got choked up more than a few times watching the game last night. And I figured even if I wasn't choked up, I was worried that I was going to be, for stretches there, kind of at a loss for words, just kind of drinking it all in and just trying to process it, because I've never known the league without Dirk. So now that the reality is right here in my face, it's kind of hard to confront. But yeah, I'm going to give it a go tonight. I told you guys I was going to do it. So we're going to give, for Dirk, our last run here, the last game of the season, the last game companion of the season. We're going to roll with this. Let's see here. Gle, Eric Anthony, what's up? Can't catch him. Let's see, game intro starting. Mine is the first time Dirk won his first series against the badass Utah Jazz, 3-2. Yep, that was huge. Then, of course, the title, but the sure joy on his face. Yeah. No, I mean, that's an excellent answer. The title, that title run is the best experience sports-wise I've had in my life. I've had a lot of times where my team, including the Mavericks, got to the game, got right there to the cusp, and just couldn't quite get over the edge. So yes, seeing 2011 unfold the way it did and just the perfect storybook kind of ending to it was great. It was nothing short of emotional, and it sucks. It sucks now to kind of say goodbye to that because, like I said in my article, it is kind of like saying goodbye to the last little piece of your childhood at this point. And now here's Dirk's current teammates, talking about him and what he means to them, what his legacy means to them. Is very, very great, man. It's oof. I might get choked up again here doing this stream even. Oh, man. I'm not going to be able to see it here in Oklahoma, but I'll bet I'll see it somewhere soon. Yeah, I'm sure the tribute video will get shared on the prospect page. If it gets posted on social media, I'll post it to the Facebook or something. I think we made him retire. No, man. If you watched the post-game thing yesterday, and I'm not just talking about the 30 minutes on the court, I'm talking about Rick Carlisle's post-game presser after the game. He talked about how it was pretty much known this was going to be Dirk's last run. Physically, yeah, Dirk and Popovich hugging now. Just physically everything Dirk had to go through all year, just incredible what he put himself through just to get out here on the court and just to be able to play and to finish out his career right. He didn't want to walk away mid-season or anything like that. So he was coming in. He had basically like acupuncture, but I guess it was like next level stuff because Carlisle was talking about in his presser, like needles this long sticking not just into his skin and muscles, but even bone in some cases, and how Dirk would just howl with pain while they were putting the needles in. And then once the appointment was done, he'd come out kind of smiling like, you know what, I actually feel a little bit better now. Like, he was just doing this stuff constantly throughout the season. It was just a absolute grind and drained him. Midwest Sports, what's up? So yes, it wasn't that he was pushed out of the league. I know everyone kind of jumped the gun figuring out this was going to be the end of Dirk's run, but this was much more so just the right time for Dirk. It wasn't that people pushed him that way. It's not like he felt like, oh, Dirk with the fadeaway, missed it. It's not like Dirk felt like, oh, how will I ever deal with this and come back after all these goodbye things. He wasn't worried about that. He knew that we would welcome him back with open arms if he wanted to. He just said, I would love to be there to mentor Luka and KP even further, but physically it's just not viable anymore. And his role was going to be really, really reduced at that point. So I think it just kind of was what it was. There was no other route at this point for him to go other than just to say, you know what, it's time. The physical toll I've put myself through 21 years, especially recent years, his injuries and things like that, it's time. So I think it's the right decision, even though it hurts to see him go. But, you know, he'll be around. He's got a job for life. He'll have some kind of advisor role if he wants it. Cuban's already told him he's got a job for life. Dirk, deep three, missed it. So we know he's got a job for life. Cuban's going to, of course, retire the number 41. He promised a huge freaking statue outside the AAC. I'm curious to see how tall it is. Personally, I want that statue to be taller than Big Tex, but that's just me. I've also heard another good answer of 41 feet tall exactly. I like that too. Yeah, no, I don't think this was a forced hand situation. He didn't ever want a retirement tour. This is always what he said. I've said that many times on the show. Dirk looked at the Kobe retirement tour bonanza and pretty much said, "I don't. That's not me." He's much more soft spoken. He doesn't like the attention. That's why during his last game and introductions last night, when Barea and Devin Harris were talking about him before the game, he was kind of standing behind all of his teammates. And then when they had the 5 NBA legends out there, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Detlef Schrempf, Scottie Pippen, and who did I miss? Sean Kemp. When he had all of them out there, Dirk was still he was fidgeting. He was kind of stepping out of the spotlight a little bit. Like, he's so grateful for those things, but it's not the attention he's ever wanted. And so I think it just kind of added up to this was how Dirk would have wanted it. It's not that he was pushed out the door. Alex Sports, what's up? Sup? Hope Dirk has an amazing final game. I hope he has a good one, yeah, for sure. I would love to see Dirk get, at least 10 points if possible, but I personally don't think he's going to play more than about 10 or 12 minutes in this game. There's a fadeaway from Dirk right there. There you go. Tied up at 7, Dirk with the spin move fadeaway. Very nice. He played a ton of minutes last night. By far the most he's taken all year. First time in like at least 4 years he's taken 30 shots in a game. So it's time, man. It is. And I don't think there's a whole lot left in that tank, but they're gonna get what's left in it, and Dirk's gonna give everything in these last 4 quarters. He wouldn't be crying if he wanted to retire. No, I disagree entirely, man. Doesn't matter if you play 10 years in the league, 100 years in the league. You're crying when it's over. Think about it. Dirk's been playing professionally since he was a teenager. Like, I know that's not super uncommon, but he was professional in Germany and in Europe before he came to the NBA. So this is all he's known for pretty much ever. So to now be at the end of it and realizing, okay, this is the end of the road. I've done everything I can do. My body's telling me there's no more. It's emotional, man. It's emotional because now, we think about it and we're like, oh, wow, Dirk's 40 going on 41. Man, he's so old for an NBA player. The key qualifier there is for an NBA player. Think about being a 40-year-old man and you've got probably minimum 30, 40 years left in your life, hopefully. What do you do with the rest of that time when all you've ever done is basketball? It can be a great unknown, and so walking away is going to be emotional. VZ kills it for the win. I'm watching the Fox Sports Southwest broadcast right now. One of my favorite underrated experiences watching Dirk and the Mavs is the 2014 playoffs. We were good enough to win it that year. 2014 playoffs. So the 14 team was what had Rondo. There's Dirk again with a spot up there. Had Rondo, had Chandler Parsons, had Tyson. That was a team that before the Rondo deal was electric. It really was. It was one of the best offenses in the league. And it didn't have good point guard play. And it wasn't a great defensive team despite having Tyson back. But it was absolutely a good team. The problem is the Rondo thing killed the chemistry. I don't think 2014's roster was going to win it all by any means. But, it was the flirtation of like, oh, wow, we did this as like a 2-year, 1-year, whatever rebuild without even an official tank. People were touting us as brilliant until it became apparent the Rondo trade was a huge mistake. Now all we got left of the Rondo trade is Dwight Powell. I heard you say Dallas prospect, you didn't become a Mavs fan until 2002. That's too bad. I've been watching him since the first day of the whole German thing. Couldn't take my eyes off him. Yes, that's correct. The 02-03 season was my introduction to Dirk and the Mavericks as a whole. I didn't really watch the NBA before then, so that was my introduction. I came in and immediately watched him, Nash, and Finley go on a 14-game win streak to open that season. They won 60 games, and they lost in the Western Conference Finals when Dirk sprained, I believe, his MCL and missed pretty much the entire Western Conference Finals. And in exchange, Oh, you know what? VZ kills it for the win. It's not. It's not Fox Sports Southwest. It's what is that one where it's like got 21 in the title? Let me see if I can look it up real quick. It's on TV. It's Texas 21. Is that what they call it now? UPN 21. They moved it to that, so go to that channel. Yeah, Fox Sports Southwest is Ranger Insider. Go to like Texas 21. But yes, so they lost to the Spurs in 6 in the Western Conference Finals that year, and Dirk didn't play hardly at all. He was one game away from returning if Dallas could have just held on in Game 6 to a fourth quarter lead. Remember, that team also had Nick Van Exel and the last pretty good year of Rafe LaFrentz. That was a damn good Dallas team. If they just could have... TXA 21, there you go, Abraham Young, shout out. If they just could have held on for Game 7, Dirk would have come back that year. So that was my first year as a Mavericks fan. And yeah, I've looked into previous years a little bit as well. Part of that's come just with projects I'm planning for Prospect. One thing I was considering doing, I don't want to put it out there as it's a definitive thing that I'm going to do, but one thing I was considering doing was don't post the stream link in here, Eric. Or if you want me to glance the other way, replace the dot in .com with the word dot. It'll prevent it from posting as a link, and people can just copy paste and then do that. That's probably me risking that, even just admitting that on the stream, but that is an option for you. Dirk in the game the other night became the oldest player in NBA history to go for, the only 40-year-old, I should say, in NBA history to go for 30 points. Michael Jordan did it before him, but Michael Jordan was just a fresh 40. Dirk is nearly 41 at this point. He's 294 days old, 295 now, I guess. So incredible history for Dirk there. I know, obviously, Jamal Crawford went off. Oh, yeah, I was talking about the project. One thing I am giving some real consideration to is doing basically a special for my retrospective series that will always feature the playoff runs for the Mavericks. So the years with a playoff run, which that's no small task. Dirk went there 15 times. That would be 15-part series in a way. And only one of them would end where we wanted it to. So I don't know about that. Maybe I'll shorten that just to notable years, like the Utah year you mentioned in 2000, 2001, I believe it was. The 2002, 2003. The 2005 year, I'd say, has some merit to it. First year without Nash. 2006, of course. After that, I'd say really, 7's a notable year, but I don't like that year. That was the first round loss to the 8-seed Warriors. 11, and then if you wanted me to go any further than that, there's 14 and 16 to choose from, but neither of those seasons got out of the first round either. Let's not say he's leaving. As you said earlier, let's not be sad he's leaving. Let's be happy we are around for the ride. Absolutely. That is absolutely the right mentality to have. It is a bit sobering, but at the same time, man, we got to watch one of the all-time greats throughout his prime and his entire run. This is one of those legacies that will always be talked about, and we got to see it. We got to enjoy the ride, and man, I'm telling you, the love we showed him in his final game at home last night, the rest of the league is talking about it. Like DFW fans, Mavs fans, we showed out, and we absolutely showed what it means to be like basically an idol in this city, like worshipped. Our admiration for him is so incredible, beyond the means of normal players. I'm glad that Luka and Porzingis got to see that. Like, man, if you give everything you've got to this city, there's nothing. The fans will never turn on you. If you give us everything you got, and you have real talent, you will not be given up on. Let's see here. You think the Mavs and Spurs rivalry will be the same now that Dirk and Duncan are gone? It's going to be different for sure, because even LaMarcus Aldridge isn't too long for this NBA world, so to speak. And with that being the case, it's different. You're going to have Luka and KP now leading against, I don't know how long DeRozan's for San Antonio either. So I don't know. It's definitely going to be different for a little bit, I think. Zoran, what's up? I saw that for Indiana Pacers that they would play on the worst basketball players. They would play only the worst basketball players. What do they want with this? Maybe they won't help the Hawks and Trey do something extraordinary. Dirty game. Yeah, I don't know, man. Dallas not playing Luka in this game is definitely frustrating. I think the only reason they even played him last night, because I truly believe they want to tank. They put that in the back pocket, so to speak, for last night because it was Dirk's last game. They wanted to get it for him. They wanted Luka to play his last game with him, and so they made the decision less than an hour before tonight's game that Luka would not play for the same right thigh contusion. Luka looked pretty damn fine hopping around and all that the other night. So I think for Luka's season now, he will have played 70 games of 82. His resume is certainly good enough for Rookie of the Year, but there's no doubt, even though he's still posted 8 triple-doubles this season, all other rookies in this class have combined for 1. That was Trae Young. There's no doubt his accolades are there, but he has not had a lot of blow-you-away moments in the last part of the season like Trae Young has, and that's just the simple truth. Even though from a points perspective, a rebounds perspective, even an assist perspective, his numbers are all higher. His usage rate has gone up as a necessity because of those trades. And people are just kind of looking at it, and you're like, yeah, Trae Young's having the moments late. And that's why some people are trying to entertain this idea that Trae Young has now made this a race. I still disagree, but there are some facets there that can't be completely overlooked. Luka and Trae Young were tied for total points scored this season because Trae hasn't missed a game. So now Trae is going to win that advantage, even though Luka has the points per game record for this thing. I think 2004 was the year we faced the Spurs. Oh, you're right. I was thinking of 15 when it was the Rockets. Yes, 14 when we lost in 7 to the Spurs. Spurs went to the championship or the finals and lost because of a choke job and a Ray Allen corner 3. Yeah, that was we were the only team. Wait, did the Spurs win it that year? Was that the year after the Heat were able to beat them? Yeah, because 2013. Yes. So that was the year the Spurs smacked the snot out of the Heat. Dallas was the only team that pushed them. Yes, that was a very good Dallas team with Vince Carter hitting that corner 3. Let's see here. Here's some cool facts here. This is from the great Bobby Carella on Twitter. Dirk Nowitzki has scored 9.76% of all of the Mavericks' points as a franchise. The franchise started in the 80s. Dirk was drafted in 98. Dirk has scored basically 10% of all points in Mavericks history, excluding tonight. He's appeared in 48.3% of the team's games as a whole. And he's responsible for 58.3% of the franchise's wins total. That's 916, the 6th most ever. So, absurd accomplishment there for Dirk. I mean, that's some next level stat shit there from Bobby. That's great. I mentioned earlier Dirk is the second 40-year-old player ever to score 30 in a game. The other was Michael Jordan. So that's something else to consider there too. And, while Dirk's running around doing all this, you still got Dwayne Wade over there in the corner saying, "Notice me, love me." Dwayne Wade on Twitter earlier today. So I'm up early when I should be doing treatment, I'm up early then I should be doing treatment on my knee in hopes that the soreness dies down before tonight's game. Out of the playoffs, and I'm still doing treatments to play. Okay, cool. What I like is Jeff Kavanaugh's response to that. He says, "We know how much you want to be praised for this. Great job, man. You're a real warrior." And Mavs Zach on Twitter says, all caps, "Pay attention to me." That's pretty much what Wade's tweet is saying there. It's ridiculous in that capacity. It's like, dude, okay, you're out of the playoffs, but you want praise for going out to play your last game because you're doing treatment beforehand? Like, yeah, it's your last game. I would assume you want to play. Therefore, treatment is necessary. What are you talking about? It's he's so desperate for attention. And that's just something Dirk would never do. And that's something that I admire about Dirk is how quiet and humble. He just lets his actions do the talking. Wade, meanwhile, can't stop promoting himself or seeking some kind of praise. Yes, you got to do the Utah one. We were down 0-2. Dirk said he hated wearing the green shoes, switched to blue, I think, and we won 3 in a row. Last one on the Jazz's home court. Yep. Luka did get his 8th triple-double. Yep, that now passes Magic Johnson for most triple-doubles most triple-doubles before the age of 21 now with 8. That passes Magic Johnson. In terms of rookies overall, it's the 3rd most in NBA history, triple-doubles by a rookie. So I guess in those other cases, we're talking about a 21 or 22-year-old who set the record for 1 and 2 of most triple-doubles as a rookie. Great point here on Twitter as well. I took a screenshot from another writer for Dallas Sports Fanatic, Kendall Pugh. Hey, salute for the new subscriber. He points out that this year, even though Dallas didn't make the playoffs, even though we might still potentially lose our first-round pick, this was a really successful year for Dallas. Why? 1, great unofficial farewell tour for Dirk. We didn't have to force it. It just happened organically, and Dirk got love from all corners of the NBA. That alone would probably make it worth it for me. 2, Luka will in all certainty be Rookie of the Year, and he is you could say future star. I would say he's a current star. I would say future superstar. Right now, I'm still saying he's a budding superstar, right there on the cusp. 3, we increased our win total from last year. That's, a little bit of a smaller footnote, but still nice to see. 4, we were able to dump Harrison Barnes' crazy contract and picked up a very nice prospect in Justin Jackson in the process. Instead of paying $30 million next year for Barnes, we're paying $5 million for Justin Jackson, and he fits much better in his role for us than Barnes did. And 5, of course, we added Kristaps Porzingis. It's hard to have a much more successful season than that unless it ends up being a playoff year. Let me see here. Yeah, Reddit will hook you up for that. For crying out loud, Luka beat Magic for most triple-doubles. Enough said. Yep, Dallas was the only team that put up a fight against San Antonio that year. If it wasn't Dirk's last game, I wouldn't be watching this. That's kind of where I'm at, I think, for sure. Daniel, what's good? Is Vucevic still coming to Dallas? Well, it's not a certainty by any means. We have to see if he does in free agency. I think there's interest there, and I think the Mavericks would have interest. I don't know if he's their primary target, but there is certainly interest there in adding him, and Dragic as well. Dallas needs a point guard. We know the Dragic-Luka connection, and if the team were to stretch, basically stretch Courtney Lee, buy him out, stretch it, they'd be able to open the cap space between their free agency money and the money relief they would get from letting go of Courtney Lee and his $14 million, I believe, to add Dragic and Vucevic. Now, at that point, you're pretty much Team World All-Stars against Team USA in every other game. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. I don't know if they're going to add Vucevic, but I do know quietly there is mutual interest. Let's see here. So those were the main stats and facts I wanted to lay out there. Let me jump back into this. Cheers to Dirk for those who have a drink. Justin Jackson is balling lately. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, man, when I went and watched them last Friday night, he was actually the one I was probably most impressed by. I'm not even kidding. Justin Jackson really impresses me. He was a lottery pick from Dennis Smith's draft. I mean, he was the very edge of the lottery, but he was still a lottery pick. And I think he fits well with us here. He gets more of a chance to play than he was getting at the time in Sacramento. I could see him being a nice role player for us for the next couple of years, for sure. Oh, man, don't even call it. I'd love to see it. On Instagram, I saw the results of a secret ballot from players. Luka won 92.5% of the vote, and Trey won 7.5%. The majority supported Luka for title of Rookie of the Year. Was that the players for that one? Because I saw something similar, but I was under the impression that it was media members because it was citing like ESPN.com writer, Bleacher Report writer, The Athletic, the DFW, not the DFW Athletic, but The Athletic. It was citing people like that. So I was under the impression it was media members. Maybe, unless it got the same stinking results, which would be cool. But 92.5%, yes. Luka is certainly getting the buzz. Hawk fans aren't letting it go, though, man. They're not. If you look at some of my recent videos, the one where I ranted about the whole situation with Rookie of the Year and Lionel Hollins talking about Luka being nothing more than Jason Williams and how Luka has outperformed Trae Young. Now that video's been out there a couple days, I guess it's found its way to a couple Hawks pages because they started sounding off in the comments. And, you know, to each their own. If you lay out an argument that counteracts me, that's fine. I know one thing they like to cite is they like to talk about since December what their numbers are. Through the first 40 games, Trae Young was not good. It's nice that he found his way, but I still can't overlook that gap. And the fact is, even when Trae Young is playing at his best right now, he's not playing that much better on this current run than Luka played at all, at even the worst part of the season for Luka. So it's still, to me, a little ridiculous in that capacity. And, you know, I'm just going to let the numbers speak for themselves. I think Luka's going to win Rookie of the Year. I don't know what the count will be because obviously you get points for first place votes and second place votes. I imagine the majority of first place votes will go to Luka, but because of the point system, I do think Trae Young will be somewhat close when you look at the final count, but it's Luka. I don't see any other indication anywhere outside of the Atlanta Hawks fandom that it's going to be, and media, that it's going to be Luka. It's going to be him. Cheers indeed, Kent. They didn't give us the awards. They don't give these awards out until like June or something, right? By then, trust Luka will win and many other titles down the road. Yeah, I'd love to see it. You're right in that they do take for freaking ever. It is, as of the last couple of years now, a postseason award. I hate that. I hate it. The first year I noticed it was when Russell Westbrook won MVP. Because I was like, man, this is usually announced like during the playoffs, and you have like a ceremony like after the first round or something. Now you got to wait till the freaking finals are done, which how stupid is that? Like the season's over. Oh, but we want to have our awards night where we announce this. What do you need the MVP awarded that night for? It's not like I'm going to turn it on to see who won MVP. I'm still just going to wait until I get the Cliff Notes. Let it be like best male athlete and crap like that. That's all we need. Dirk back on the floor. Nice take there. I think that was Devin Harris. Yep. Trae can shoot sometimes, but Trae will never rebound or defend. Luka does all of it. Luka is still a work in progress defensively, but yes, Trae Young is a horrifically bad defender, and Hawk fans like to ignore that. He is like rated, I've seen in the most generous sense, his real plus-minus rating is basically 404 out of 508 candidates. I've seen other stats that are similar that rate him, in fact, 508 out of 508. So it's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You don't pan out very well defensively. You're a one-sided coin, and that side wasn't even right for a good chunk of the year. So sorry, you're not Rookie of the Year. I know he's always going to say he's Rookie of the Year. I know he's going to say, and he has said recently, he's the best rookie in this class. You know, a realization came to me because as we were talking about the March Madness and everything the other day, there was some footnote put out there for Zion, who won National Player of the Year, the Naismith winner. And the indication was, Zion joins this elite company of true freshmen to win this award. And it's like Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, I forget another name that was on the list. But there was another name like that. And, Trae Young's kind of like saying like, oh, I know another freshman that should have won it. Now, Trae Young, yeah, you were the leading candidate for that whole season. But my God, did you fall off late, and your team fell off abysmally late, the Sooners. And yeah, you lost it. And you know what's funny? He lost it to Jalen Brunson. So what we learned from this, between last year Trae Young being salty and saying he got robbed of the basically best player award, and this year it's basically Trae Young against our Mavericks rookies, because he's salty about not being the winner of Rookie of the Year, in all likelihood, to Luka Doncic. He's salty about not being considered the favorite. He's salty about last year and losing the Player of the Year, the Naismith winner, to Jalen Brunson. Why are you so salty? Just play better. Let your actions speak for you. Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. Like, this is something Hawks fans forget too. I've specified this a million times. Trae Young went to my high school. I watched him in high school. I mean, obviously I wasn't there at the same time as him, but it's my hometown, so I saw him in high school. I saw him at OU. I've seen him in the NBA. Like, I've seen him. I appreciate his ability, but to just automatically say, yes, he's Rookie of the Year based on this last stretch he's had when he woke up finally a little bit before the All-Star game and now what he's carried through to here. Cool, I see about half a season's worth of resume, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little more. Even then, I would say I don't think you outdo everything Luka's done this year, even with Luka being on a cold streak. His percentages are down, but shit, he still racked up a 21, 16, and 10 game last night. Let's see here. San Antonio leads 35-20. Dallas with a steal. I'm serious, guys. Don't expect to see Dirk more than probably... Oh, there's Dirk. Spot up three. Missed it. Don't expect to see Dirk more than probably 15 minutes in this game. I would be shocked if he goes more than that. I think he used up all the gas in the tank last night. DDP, do you think anyone has a chance to upset Golden State this year? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, never say never, but with Boogie Cousins as well now, it just seems absurd to try and envision that. Houston could have gotten him last year if Chris Paul doesn't pull his hamstring and miss, I think, a game and a half there at the very end. Or maybe he just missed the final game. Regardless, that changed everything in that capacity that year, and now they've added Boogie Cousins. I think they're going to run through it. I don't know who they'll match up with in the first round. I thought it was going to be the Thunder, but the seeding of that's kind of up in the air down to the final night, which is cool. I've seen stuff talking about the Thunder maybe getting as high as 6 or as low as 8, depending on the outcomes of tonight. So OKC doesn't have good three-point shooting, not consistent at all. They're the worst free throw shooting team in the league by percentage. And because of all that, I say that while defensively they can give them fits, and while Paul George can certainly be clutch, and Russell Westbrook, we know his extra motivation for going against KD and Golden State, I just don't think that they can do much. I think maybe they can push them to a tough 6, but I think in the Golden State wins in that series, it's probably going to be fairly handy. It's just going to be in the OKC wins, whether it's 1 or 2, that it's a knockdown, drag-out fight. But I don't know. We'll see. Houston is the only team with a chance in the West, says can't catch them. There are several teams in the East, though. Yeah, Houston's good. They got a shot in the West. Denver, don't sleep on Denver, man. Denver is really good. Denver's really good with Jokic being their best player. I'm incredibly impressed, and I admit I've slept on Denver way too long now. They are very good. I'm very impressed with what they've built. And if they ever find themselves with a true superstar, whether that's Michael Porter Jr. getting healthy and being able to play for them in the future and developing into anything like people thought he might coming out of the draft, look out for Denver. Seriously, they're going to be damn good. Damn good if they can pull that off. But in the East, yeah, I'd say the Bucks could take them. Toronto, maybe, because you got to think that Kawhi Leonard would be able to lock down KD for a decent stretch. Yeah, I don't know about Boston. I don't know. Boston seems very inconsistent to me. Denver has been rudderless lately, though. Yeah, lately they've been spiraling a little bit, but I don't write them off completely. I think they have a very good coach, a very good overall team. I think they're going to be better in the playoffs. I don't think they're flaming out where they're going to lose in the first round by any stretch. I agree, DDP. Maybe Houston, like Kent Ketchum mentioned. Denver is too young, in my opinion. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to write them off because I do think that they are. I do think that they are very good, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on them, but we'll see. So they showed Luke on the bench talking about his performance last night, 21, 16, and 11. Very, very impressive rookie year from Luka Doncic. People talk about it like, oh, he missed 12 games. Maybe that'll hurt him. We know for a fact they sat him and just kept him out of games for the purpose of tanking for at least 6 or 7 of those games. I don't think he's really been that banged up at all this year. He's had little nick-ups here and there, but nothing major. And there he is sitting with KP on the bench. This Mavericks team is going to look very different next year. I think you're going to see. Good hustle from the Mavericks there. I think Devin Harris is probably gone. He's had 3 swims through Dallas. This is where he is most known, where he has spent the most of his career. He's another. He's not like a obviously not a Hall of Fame great, but he's not like a Mavericks all-time great. But he's definitely a memorable Maverick. I think he was part of the '06. He was a big part of that '06 team that got to the finals. And that was, I believe, his rookie year, maybe second year. But we'll see what he's able to do, where he ends up. I think they'll keep Brokov. Maybe Hardaway Jr. comes off the bench. I think they'll move on from either one or the other, Burke or Courtney Lee. Personally, I would move on from Courtney Lee. And we'll see. But I bet this roster is pretty different by the start of next season. It's not just adding KP and calling it a day. It's probably changing out 4, 5, maybe even 6 players out of a 15-man roster. Solar Flare, what's up? What's good? This is the game companion for Dirk's last game, the Mavs at San Antonio. Eric Anthony, can't wait to see KP and Luka become an elite duo next season. Yeah, me too, man. I'm excited to see what KP can be because I do believe that KP, pick and roll there with Dirk. I do believe that KP is it's not just about him getting back. Dirk with the mid-range. Rim out. It's not just about KP getting back to form. You look at him, I think it's very noticeable to see KP is doing what the Mavericks talked about when they acquired him, not just getting his knee right. They're basically transforming his body physically. They're getting him in better shape. They're adding muscle to his frame. But, they've had Dirk 21 years, obviously. They know exactly what kind of strength, conditioning, and all that nutrition program to have him on. They're doing that with KP now, and that should help him because he is a guy who's been nicked up a lot in his career, obviously only the one major injury. But they're hopefully going to be able to address all of those things now. And if you look at KP and kind of how his physical frame and everything looks now, it looks like he has really taken strides in that way. I'm upset they rested Luka in Dirk's last game and didn't at least try to win this game. They're still trying to tank, man. They hit the brakes on tanking last night, and they made sure that for Dirk's retirement announcement and his last home game, because that's the game's going to be remembered, right? No one's going to remember this game. When people talk about Dirk's retirement in a few years, they're not going to mention the San Antonio game. They're going to mention the AAC because that, as Zoran mentions, that atmosphere was magical last night. That's going to be the moment. So they have Luka there. They have him associated, and Luka got his own footnote thing in that where he got the triple-double and set his own record. All of that's there. All of that's significant. As for tonight, I'm not interested in winning this game, honestly. It doesn't mean much to go out on a win here. It means more going out on a win in his last home game and the night that he has his tremendous celebration and his retirement announcement. That's what matters, not this. Yeah, I enjoyed all of last night, man. It was surreal, and I stayed up until they went off the air even after, not just off the court, but like even all the post-game broadcast, Carlisle interview, all that, press conference, I should say. I watched it all. I drank it all in. And, yeah, I got choked up a few times. It was emotional. I got choked up watching this tribute video to start here because it's not a game I would be super interested in otherwise, but it's because I know, without a doubt, definitively, this is the last game for Dirk. And that's a bit surreal. Dirk has been one of my kind of childhood heroes. I've admired him greatly. I mean, Dirk, is great of an athlete as he is, as all-time great as a player he is. It's more to me that he's an even better human being. And I mean that. I've never heard a single person say a bad thing about Dirk. And, other than just some NBA troll or, whoever on ESPN or whatever wanting to troll. But it's tough. It's going to be tough without him. But, Father Time is undefeated. Good thing we have the best in the game in Casey Smith. As far as trainer, yes, I agree, Solar Flare. Kuma, as Dirk and Mavs' biggest fan, I can't keep the emotions bottled up. I'm going to miss this guy. I agree 100%. And the thing is, even though I've gotten a little choked up here and there between last night and for a moment here now, it still hasn't fully sank in. And I don't think it's going to fully sink in until maybe sometime in the off season when suddenly it's aware that as we're talking about the Mavericks, we're not talking about Dirk anymore. Kuma, your favorite memory of Dirk, not counting the 2011 finals. I liked in that playoff run his 48-point game against Oklahoma City, including 24 of 24 at the free throw line. I liked in the 06 Western Conference Finals his 50-point game against Phoenix at home. That was excellent. Regular season, I loved Dallas and Houston's duel between Dirk and Tracy McGrady. If you look that up, the Mavericks have the P. Diddy designed green jerseys that says Mavs across the chest. And in that game, Dirk went for a career-high 53, and Tracy McGrady went for 48 for the Rockets. That is a phenomenal back-and-forth duel. But you know what? The game that really defined, for me, Dirk might just be the... Sorry, a little fly buzzing around in here. Might just be the 2006 Western Conference semifinals against San Antonio. Dallas was a 60-win team that year. San Antonio won the division, however, as a 67-win team. That was the year that changed the playoff seeding structure. Now it goes by best record. Before, the 4 division winners automatically got the top 4 seeds and home court advantage. Now that is no longer the case. It's the 4 best records. And in that series, you ended up having to get Dallas and San Antonio, by far the best series of the playoffs that year. In the second round, it went to Game 7 in San Antonio, and Dirk was incredible. I miss that era of basketball. That's me at 16 years old watching, and that was phenomenal watching that duel between Dirk and Duncan. And that game in general, the NBA as a whole, man, that whole game is out there in parts on YouTube. Like, I think there's one channel that uploaded it in like 3 or 4 parts. I strongly advise watching it. The game is so physical and it's so heated, and just the plays Dirk is making are incredible. Obviously, we know what he did in the playoff run in 2011, but even what he's doing in 06, man, it's mind-boggling, some of the things he's accomplishing in that game. So highly recommend checking that out. That series by itself deserves one of these retrospectives, I think. Hell, maybe even just that game deserves its own retrospective. Let's see here. Tetsuya, thank you, Dirk. Yes, sir. I still have that green Dirk jersey and remember that game. I have that green Dirk jersey somewhere as well. It's probably buried in the back of my closet. I miss those jerseys, man. I love when Dallas actually embraced green as one of its main colors. I hope in this rebrand they're supposedly going to do. And now, by the way, that Dirk's retiring, it's definitely confirmed to me that the new rebrand is going to roll out before next season. So we're going to see new jerseys, new court design, all that. It is the post-Dirk era, the now Luka era. I'm curious to see what they roll out in that capacity because it's been really cool, man. It's been really cool, but we've had the same stuff for 18, 19 years of Dirk's run. I think we rolled those out for the first time in the 01-02 season. So it might be time for some new threads and a new branding. But yes, I like it better when they have green in it. I like it better when they embrace the green. I like the green and blue combination, frankly. It's got kind of a retro feel, but you can still have a modern design. And Tyler Churchill, I believe his name is, on Twitter, you'll see him share a lot of his design concepts. Most of them are just straight fire. I love his stuff. Check him out. Same, I hope they have green as an alternate at least. At the very least, an alternate, yes. Especially in today's NBA where you have so many different versions of jerseys. I'm actually upset none of our city editions have really used green. And no, I don't count last year's janky-ass lime green. Or not, yeah, it was like a lime green tracing around the numbers and DAL on the chest. And I think that was stupid. I hated those jerseys. It didn't look at all like us at all. I don't like this year's one. I think it's just a very diluted color, monochrome logo. It looks like a practice jersey just because it's just got the secondary logo just slapped on the chest and there's nothing else to it. I love the city edition ones that we have that actually have like the skyline. Those are pretty cool. I would like to see us, because I believe there was a green one concept. In fact, there was a home one concept that we haven't used. We only use it for the navy blue roads. But I like very much when we would have, I would have liked to have seen the home edition one of those or the green one I saw. Let's see here. Corner three for Dodo. Knocks it down. It is 47-29 San Antonio. 4:15 left in the corner from what I can see. Might not be a pretty game, but as long as we all understand that going in, we'll make it through this. Remember, this isn't about the win. This is solely about Dirk. Let's see here. Our jerseys have kind of sucked. Can't wait to see the new designs. I like the home whites we have. I actually miss our old road blues, the navy blue with kind of white and silver. We got rid of those the first year. I think we went to the royal blue color as the road jerseys, which I love those now. But the first year we went to those, I believe, was the 2010-2011 season when we made the run to the finals, and that was really cool. Dallas down 16. Let's see. Oh, man. Yeah, it was crazy seeing Dirk kind of getting emotional and everything there at the start of the game with the Spurs tribute. Let me see. I want to actually multitask while I'm here, especially while we're in a commercial. I'm actually going to take that clip and I will share it on Facebook for those of you who didn't see Dirk getting very emotional in his last game ever. It's surreal. It's still, just even saying it out loud, it's surreal. Yeah, have fun with that, Turtle Ray. Yeah, I don't think you know anything about how copyright works and how quickly the NBA would rip down the entire stream and delete my channel. So, yeah, if you're looking for the game, move along. Eric Anthony, you're always in here. Congrats, you're now a mod. Do as you please. Let me find the clip here. Yeah, so back in action here. Yeah, the Mavs and Spurs have faced off in the playoffs 6 different times. That's crazy. Turtle Ray, you're in timeout. Not even for any real reason. I just still slightly annoyed with the negativity. Sure thing, Eric. You're always in the streams regardless of what I'm talking about, it seems like. So, makes sense. Dirk with the jumper. Oh, I thought he made that. Yeah, I think it's going to be a humble night for Dirk as far as what all he does in the game. Dirk passes out of the double team. Courtney Lee misses a shot. Yeah. All right, so what do you guys think? Do you want me to run this the entire game? We're coming up on halftime here. I don't think this is going to be a close game at all. My main kind of talking points and everything I've covered. And being solo, those talking points are kind of important. So let me know what you guys think if you want me to run this. I don't know if I'll run the entire game. I'm probably going to get a little bit emotional as well in my own right once it starts sinking in at the end of the game. But let's see. Let's get Dirk 50 field goal attempts. That would be something, but I don't think he would do that again. He did 30. There's Justin Jackson again. Man, that kid. Oh, no, sorry. That's Courtney Lee. Yeah. I read that Kristoff is playing with all power 5-on-5 on training. Yeah, Kristaps is playing for sure full speed practices again. The only thing is it sounds like he's not always playing back-to-back days in practice. He says, I mean, this is a week or two old, but he said that some days it doesn't feel quite right. And so they still haven't completely unleashed him. When he is out there, he is going 100%, but it's not, back-to-back days of practice going 100% and that kind of thing. So they're having to be a little bit strategic with how they handle it. Let's see. I think I'm going to let this run to the first half. We got about a minute and a half left in this. And then I'll talk for a couple minutes at halftime as well. And I think we're going to wrap up this game companion. Appreciate all of you for tuning in and everything. You guys are great. I think we can kind of watch these final moments, these final 2 quarters of Dirk's career, and just kind of see how we feel. Dirk is the real MVP, Rory Plumley. I agree. I love how KP and Luka are almost matching in suits. Yeah, KP's got a lot more style than Luka does. Trust me, someone's gonna Dirk with a trailing 3. He just can't find it tonight. Do you think Holger would be willing to work with Kristaps? Yeah, I think he'd be willing to. Dirk's not leaving. Here's the thing, though. Holger does live in Germany. Holger does not live here. Holger would come into the country anywhere from 2 to 4 times usually over the course of a season, always before the playoffs, to work with Dirk and get him right. Of course, he works with Dirk all throughout the summer. And with Dirk having a job for life with the Mavericks after this and having some kind of advisory role, TXA 21, Connor Mitchell, having some kind of advisory role with the team after he retires. I bet you anything Dirk will personally work with him a little bit. He'll be able to kind of run him through some of the drills. Basically, Dirk can have his take at being his chance at being Holger. But I bet you there will be times when Holger works with him as well, because Holger has worked with other former Mavericks in the past too. So it would not shock me in the least bit for that. In fact, I would like to see Luka work out with Holger too. I would love it if that was their off-season, if that was like their off-season program was Dirk and Holger working with KP and Luka. I think that would be magnificent. Sure thing, Connor. Glad, yes, they are getting blown out. They're down 20 at half. It is not especially pretty, but it helps the tank. And when we didn't play Luka tonight, we kind of knew what was going to happen. The Spurs are a playoff team and a competent one at that. They still have Popovich, who I still believe is probably one of the 2 best coaches in the league today. And, you know, I think highly of Rick too, but Rick doesn't have the horses in the stable, so to speak, right now that Popovich does. So we'll see. Bucket 3. Yep. I don't know how much Dirk will play in the second half. Luka catching the ball, really? So we're going to see a video of Dirk working KP one-on-one during the offseason, and the rumors will begin. I don't think there's going to be any rumors for Dirk coming back. I think he's done. His body is absolutely spent, as both Dirk and Rick Carlisle said after the game. It's basically at the point where if he kept persisting, he kept pushing, I think it would start to do real lasting damage to his body. I think he's at the point where he's given everything he can without basically making it so that he can't walk. I mean, we already kind of joke about him running up and down the court, but at least he can generally walk like a normal human being. We don't need him turning into Mick Foley from the WWE, who at 38 years old walked like an 80-year-old man because he done all these crazy bumps and had all these injuries and stuff. Brett Bender says, shh, just pretend last night was Dirk's last game ever. That's what we were saying. This is his official last game ever, but in a year, as early as a year or 2 from now, certainly a few years from now, we're not going to talk about this San Antonio game. We'll say, I mean, we might say like, hey, do you remember that awesome tribute the Spurs gave Dirk? Yeah, wasn't that the second to last game of the season? Yeah, I think you're right. The AAC with Dirk Appreciation Night and Larry Bird and Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, and Scottie Pippen. Yeah, that was Dirk's last game. That's how we're going to remember it, because that's basically how it feels. What happens tonight is just extra. This is the epilogue, right? You build a story and you tell this grand story. We're stretching 21 years in this story, and last night was the culmination of everything. And now that we finished the book, we finished the story, now we're just in the epilogue. We're at the very end in this last game, and this is it. And Dirk doing the whole celebration and announcement last night like they did it means he's not going to do a retirement presser because he's already done it. There will be no extra festivities. He'll do his rounds on, exit interviews and all that, but it's just going to be different. I'm eager to see what this team becomes moving forward. I'm telling you, man, it helps that we have Luka. This stupid little fly is ticking me off. It helps that we have Luka and KP, because if we didn't have them and we were going into the complete unknown without Dirk, I feel like it would be hitting us way harder. It would be nerve-wracking thinking about the future if we didn't have Luka and now KP. So I feel like Dirk got kind of what he wanted. He wanted to leave us in very good hands, and I think that's what's getting to happen here. He's getting to leave the team in good hands. Yes, it would have been great if we could have had one more playoff run with him, give him a chance to at least compete, really, really compete one last time. But, sometimes the hand you're dealt just isn't quite the ideal hand. All you can do is make the best of what's given. And I think all things considered, we got a pretty good hand here. We just gotta run with it. So, let me see here. Read a couple more comments. I got time for 3 more questions, guys, and then I'm going to wrap up this game companion. I'm gonna watch the rest of this on my own. If you want, you can jump on the. Here, I'll even post it in the comments. The link, if you want, for Discord, the Prospect Discord page. If you still want to kind of text and talk with me a little bit that way, we'll be able to do that. So let me find that here. I'll share that link and we can do it that way. One sec while I pull this up. Man, I'm having to look back through all these community posts I've done, and whew, there's a lot. Aha, I found it. That is not it. I, as the admin here, am capable of posting this. So, there's the link to the Discord. VZ kills it, like I said. You guys can jump on here on Discord. There is a prospect Discord. I will talk with you guys. I will text back and forth and commiserate with you. But this is what I think I'm gonna do for tonight. I'm also gonna do some work putting together some more content as well. I got another Feeling Dangerous that's gonna be rolling out here soon. Another podcast for that. You can bet your ass there's going to be plenty of Mavs and Dirk talk on this next edition. And I'm getting back to business on this TPN content because I have some crossover there as well I want to do. So I got a lot of stuff coming for you guys. Hey, VZ kills it. I see you in here. What's up? What's good? But yeah, man, we're going to run this and we're going to do this thing right. We're going to build this up. Drink it in tonight. Don't be sad it's over. Just be glad it happened. Honor and respect Dirk however you want. If you want to toast him with a drink like I am, have at it, man. Till next time, guys, that's going to do it for me. Remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute. Right button. Where's the button? I found it. Salute.